Welcome to Gingerspyce's guide to mana regenerating items, clickies, and gear. In this video, I'm going to be going over what they are, what they do, and where to find them or how to make them. So a video I've kind of been wanting to do for a while and I forgot about it. And then somebody was asking me recently, what do I do about mana when I'm out? And I sent them a list of all these items, and they said I have no idea what most of that stuff is, and it reminded me to do this video. So, when you first start playing DDO, you learn right away that you got these Mnemonic Pots. And they come in lesser and minor and greater and major and so on. I'm not going to be going over all of those. I do want to go over some potions that are sort of off the beaten path, though, that you may not be aware of. And the first item, the first potion I want to go over is the Draught of Sparkling Apple Cider. This comes from Evening Star, from the Village Trader, and you can get one of these for 1 villager commendation. And this is a consumable that for 20 seconds you get back out something like 15 spell points, give or take, per tick. And so, you get back maybe 120 or maybe about 150 spell points from that. So it's a nice little item. I like to keep a stack of these handy, and good reminder that you can trade your other commendations for any other ones you want at a rate of 3 to 1 at the appropriate trader. So if you don't have a lot of villager commendations and you got a lot of the others and you want to trade them in to get some of these, don't forget that you have that option. The next item is a seasonal item that you get from the festival coin trade-in, and that's the Quor Region of Dreams Jelly Cake. And it says Wand of Wonder, but what it does when you consume it is it just ticks for 3 spell points for a couple of minutes. So it's pretty low, lower regenerating, it's a little slow, but nice to know that you have that option. It's a freebie, a seasonal freebie that you may not have been aware of. The next item is a neat little Chard Trinket. It's a consumable. It's got 20 charges. It does not recharge, but it's 20 charges of major mnemonic enhancement. So it's like 20 major pots, and you get this from one of the collectibles traders, David Turner, in the marketplace, and you give him 3 of the medium Eberron Dragon shards, and he will give you one of these. So check your bags. You might have some medium Eberron Dragon shards. You trade them to David Turner and get yourself some of these Chard Trinkets. It's 20 major pots. Pretty nice item. There is one more consumable that I do not have, and that is the Yugoloth potion called Essence of Cunning. It's the Intelligence Yugoloth potion. In fact, I have this Yugo Essence of Desire here just as a reminder. I would have got one, but I'm knocking out a Barbarian Life. Only going to 20. Didn't do the Shavreth quests, so don't have the favor to go buy them. But it lasts for 10 minutes, and I think it's just 1 spell point every few seconds or so. So it's kind of slow, but like I said, it lasts 10 minutes, so that can add up, and that's a nice option to know that you have. The next item is the Archivist Necklace, which of course comes from Misery's Peak and can be a starter item for veteran tunes. And this just has your 2 clickies of minor mnemonic aid, 10 to 35 spell points per click. So not a lot of mana there, but it is free, and I just can't part with it. I heard one person describe this as an emergency D-door. That's what this item represents. Things are going bad, you need to get out. There's enough mana for a D-door right there. So I think that's a neat way to think about this item. Moving along, the next item is a level 7 necklace called the Twisted Talisman. And you can wear this item. It's got 54 nullification. You probably find much better than that, but you do have that option. And the way this item works is it has 3 clickies, and each one of those you get 50 spell points, but when you use it, you lose 25 hit points. So it's a hit point for mana kind of thing. Of course, you can heal those hit points, no big deal. This is an exclusive item. It is bound to account, so if you pull it on another tune, you can just move it over to whatever tune that you want. This comes out of the Red Fens from the quest The Last Stand. and this item can be made epic. The Epic Twisted Talisman is a level 20 item. It's got nullification 90 on it, and now it has 5 charges of Blood Sacrifice, which is the 25 hit points for 50 spell points. So that's 250 spell, 250 spell points. So not bad. The Twisted Talisman is exclusive, but you can have both the heroic and epic version in your inventory, as you can see. This is what I guess could be called an old school epic item. That unlike new epic items where you just pull the epic item, this is something that actually had to be crafted by collecting the base item, the shard of the base item, so in this case the shard of the Twisted Talisman, the seal of the Twisted Talisman, and the scroll of the Twisted Talisman. You put all 4 of those things in the epic altar in the 12, and it will consume the base item. All 4 of those items will be consumed to make the epic version. The next item is the Ring of Spell Storing, and this comes out of the Sands of Manectran Slayer Zone. And it's the mummy way in the back, General something or other, I think is his name, I forget. And this is a pretty, well, it was historically a very, very rare drop, but this was one of the items that they upped the drop rate for this past year. So if you gave up on it and you didn't know they upped the drop rate, go back out there, and people are pulling them a lot more often now. It's a lot more common item than it used to be. And this just gives 3 charges of 25 spell points per use. So it's 75 spell points. This is another item that can be made epic, and the Epic Ring of Spell Storing is a level 20 item, and this is sort of the king of mana regenerating items. 3 charges of major mnemonic aid, so it's 3 major pots per rest. Very, very nice item. It's not something you would want to wear. It does have the colorless slot, but there's certainly a lot better to wear that has slots. But this is another old school epic item that must be crafted using the base item, the seal, the shard, and the scroll. Now, the shard can drop from the Demon Queen raid and against the Demon Queen pre-raid, and the seal can drop from the ATDQ, the pre-raid. And then the scrolls, all of your Manectran scrolls can be traded at a rate of 3-to-1 for any other scroll at Lahar, the Epic Trader, in the 12 next to the Epic Altar. This is a very, very tough farm. It's the shard that's the hardest thing to get. The seal you could farm out of ATDQ. Those chests are easy farms. You can go in there and do all 3 chests without fighting a single mob. But the shard is a very, very rare drop. It's a very tough farm to get this item. I forgot to mention where you get the items for the Epic Twisted Talisman. The shard comes from the Demon optional at the bottom of the pit at the end of the final quest out in Red Fens. I always forget if it's Fathom the Depths or Into the Deep. Whatever one's the final one out there, it's the Demon optional, the Hezru guy at the bottom of that pit. And then the seal at least comes from the Last Stand. I'm not sure if it can come from some of the other quests out there. You'll want to look into that more if you want to make this item. The next item is one of my personal favorites, the Vile Blasphemy, and this comes from the Abbot raid. And this is a set of gloves, and it is actually worth wearing them. It has Dexterity 6, UMD 3, Greater Dispelling Guard, level 13 item. Not bad for some tunes. I like to wear this for some of my tunes from level 13 to 20. And what I especially like about this item is that it is not exclusive. You can have as many of these as you want. I have 5 of them on this tune. Each one of them has 3 charges. When you find it, it just has 1 charge on it. But you have to use the Seal of the Black Abbot that you also get out of the raid to upgrade it at the altar out there in Upper Necro. And then they'll increase it to 3 charges. Incidentally, before they came out with the upgrading system, they actually had 3 charges on it when you originally got it. But then when they came out with that upgrading system, everything out there got an upgrade to it except for this got a downgrade, and you had to upgrade it just to make it what it was before. Kind of ridiculous. In any event, you click this item, and it does this power drain for a minute, it will give you, I think it's 2 to 12 spell points every 6 seconds for 1 minute. And so like I said, the item is not exclusive, so you can build up a big collection of those and just get in the habit of clicking those to slowly regenerate your mana. And that recharges all of the uses per rest. Pretty nice item. Now the next item is the mysterious Bauble. And this is a trinket that it also has Wizardry 6 on it, so you could wear it. A lot better trinkets out there, but you know, you do have that option. And this has 1 charge of major mnemonic aid, so it's a major pot per rest. Really, really nice item. As far as I'm concerned, essential for any spellcaster. It's not a bad farm. Historically, this was a very, very rare drop. A lot of people have farmed the heck out of the weapon shipment, which is where this drops in Amrath, and you know, never pulled it. But this was another item that was recently the drop rate was increased for, and so I've seen a lot of people pull this since then. So if you gave up years ago, go back out to weapon shipment, do it on Elite. You get 3 end chests that it can drop from on Elite, 2 if you just do it on hard, or 1 on normal. And I saw a lot of my guildies pull it after they increased the drop rate, so I think it's dropping a lot more commonly now. The next item is kind of a quirky item called the Xachosian Eardweller, and it is a trinket that can actually be worth wearing. For some tunes, got Intelligence 6 on it. It's a level 18 item. Spell Penetration 3, Enchantment Focus 2, and it has 3 charges of Xachosian Spell Frenzy, which gives a 1 minute plus 25 psionic bonus to universal spell power. Pretty cool. Now, it is a psionic bonus, so it'll stack with most other things, but it will not stack with, I think it's the Meridian Fragment, which also gives a psionic bonus. There's something else in the game too, and I can't remember what it is. Might be the Blue Dragon set from the Epic Giant Hold armor. I'm not sure. In any event, if you want to use that, make sure that it's not redundant with some other psionic bonus you might be getting elsewhere. So after that 1 minute expires, then you become exhausted and you become afflicted with a disease. And that disease germinates for 5 minutes, and as long as you don't cure that disease, then after that 5 minutes is up, then 3 of these Xachosian larvae will appear in your inventory. And you can eat these things, and it takes it's slow consumption, so this isn't something you're going to eat on the fly. But yeah, you saw it took me about 5 seconds to eat it, but it ticks for 3 spell points every few seconds. So it's kind of slower, but you do have that option. Incidentally, the jelly cake here, it gives the same effect. When you click that, it's the same tasty larva regeneration, so they won't stack with each other. Now, this item comes from, you can actually get it from any of the Inspired Quarter quests or any of the Dreaming Dark quests. It can drop pretty much from any mob as far as I know, but it's very, very rare. And it's a really unique drop, because what happens when it happens to drop, it's actually a bug that drops from the mob that you killed, and it crawls away kind of quick. And it makes a really weird sound. It's not a sound that's like anything else in the game. It's like a Pac-Man kind of sound. And if it crawls away too far, it's gone. You actually have to kill it before it crawls away too far. And because it's kind of quick, you want to make sure that you use spells that aren't going to miss. So like Finger of Death or Call Lightning or something would be good to use against it, but you wouldn't want to use like a Lightning Bolt or some other ray spell that could miss because it's moving away from you. And then when you kill the bug, it drops a bag. That's the Xachosian Eardweller, and only one person can pick it up. So if you're in a group and there are multiple people wanting it, you might want to be pretty quick about killing that thing and picking it up. There is one optional that has a much, much higher chance of dropping this item, and that's in the final quest in the Dreaming Dark, which is called the Dreaming Dark. There's kind of a weird optional. I can't really explain where it is or how to do it, but I'm going to put a link to a video that I made shows that quest and has that optional. It has a pretty good drop rate at that optional too. So check that out if you're interested in getting your Xachosian Eardweller. Well, those are all the consumables and clickies that I'm going to go over that give you mana outright. And the next set of items are items that can like proc spell points when you get hit, or have other kinds of spell point procking to them. So the first item that I want to mention is the Concordant Opposition Green Steel item. This is an item that old Green Steel is crafted from ingredients from the Shroud raid. And the Concordant Opposition ability is one that you can only benefit from on one item and one weapon. There is no benefit to having multiple Concordant Opposition items. You can have one item and one weapon. They will both have separate chances to proc, but if you have multiple items, or multiple weapons, two weapons equipped, they will not have separate chances to proc. This it doesn't have a very high proc rate, but it does have a chance to proc spell points and hit points. It's a pretty nice item though. There are a lot of other abilities that you can craft onto it, so it's definitely worth looking into if you're not familiar with it. I do wear this at endgame, although not this particular configuration. I do have a weapon here. I don't use that anymore. I crafted that a couple years ago just to play around with it. But you do have that option too. The next item is the Torc of Prince Raiyum D2. And this is the king of mana regenerating items. This comes out of the Demon Queen raid and is a level 11 necklace that has some decent abilities on him. He's got Spell Penetration 2 and Wizardry 3, so you could wear it. But for most spellcasters, this is going to be a situational item. For me, it's a permanent item because I have this is like a tanky style, tanky build, and so I like to wear it full time because I think it's tons of fun to have all those spell points proccing. But like I said, for most spellcasters, it's situational. When they need mana, they're going to switch to it. Maybe have a nice shield block against maybe some archers or something, and let that build up their mana. You can fill up your whole blue bar in a matter of just a few minutes. It has a pretty awesome proc rate, much higher than the Concordant Opposition Green Steel. Night and day, no comparison. The Torc can be made epic. It's a level 20 item when it's made epic, also by collecting the base item, the shard, the seal, and the scroll. And the shard comes from the raid, and the seal can come from the pre-raid, maybe even from some of the other epic quests out in the Manectran, I'm not sure. It doesn't proc anymore when it's made epic. There is really no value in making this item epic unless it's a permanent item for you to wear. And for most spellcasters, it's not going to be. But if it is made epic, it's got some improved abilities. It's got Wizardry 6, Spell Penetration 3. But the Transform Kinetic Energy that procs spell points on being hit, that is exactly the same. Has a colorless slot too. So mine says level 24 just because I have the Diamond of Insightful Wisdom 2 in there. Now, if you're thinking about making your Torc epic, make sure that you never, ever make it epic unless you have 2 of them. Because otherwise, when you TR, you won't be able to wear your Torc at level 11. You have to wait until 20. A couple of my guildies learned this lesson the hard way in the last few weeks. They made their Torc epic, but they were like, damn it, I've TR'd it, now I can't wear my Torc at level 11. So, and if it's not going to be an item that you're going to be wearing regularly, there's absolutely no value in making it epic ever anyways. The next item that I want to go over is the Halcyon Boots, and this has a property on it called Halcyon Mine, and it says when you are damaged by an attack, there is a 5% chance to gain 15 temporary spell points. They last for 1 minute or until consumed. So not very exciting, but you do have that option. I actually wear this at endgame just because I can't figure out where to get potency from elsewhere. It just works for my gear set, but not an optimal item to wear at endgame. And the final item, oh, one other thing. The Transform Kinetic Energy ability is available on one other item in the game, and that's the Toven's Hammer Rune Arm that comes from the Master Artificer raid. And I've never played an Artificer, I've never had a Toven's Hammer, so as far as I know, it is exactly the same. I know the Toven's Hammer has a couple of upgrades to it, so I don't know if the Kinetic Energy ability is on the base item or you have to upgrade it. To get that, if you play an Artificer and you want to get that Rune Arm, look into it. The Dethek Runestone comes out of the Fire on Thunder Peak raid. Oh, and the Halcyon Boots come out of the Fall of Truth raid in Gianthold. So the Dethek Runestone comes on Fire on Thunder Peak, and this has an ability called Runic Revitalization that you can see at the bottom. It says on positive energy spellcast, so like healing spells, for example, you have a 10% chance to gain 100 temporary hit points and 50 temporary spell points for 60 seconds. That can only trigger once every 120 seconds, so only every couple of minutes, but 10% chance, a pretty high chance to get those spell points. This is a pretty nice shield for like a druid. It is made of stone. This is my endgame shield. I like it, but for non-druid classes, maybe a healer could benefit from this, but there are definitely better shields out there, like the PDK shield, for example. But wanted to go over that option too. Those are all the items that I'm going to be going over. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions about my videos, you can respond on YouTube. And if I happen to miss any spell point regenerating items in this game, be sure to leave a comment.